Yo, good morning, nation. Y'all ready? Let's hit it.
Inside Allegiant Stadium for the first time this year. Max Crosby. Touchdown Raiders. Traffic is picked off by Robert Spillane. John Jones. Amazing. Let's go, Black Killer. The back and he's caught. There for the touchdown. And drilled from behind. Ball's out. Football running.
This is a great opportunity for us to come home in front of our family, fans, Raider Nation, the Black Hole.
Raiders! Goddamn right.
Yo, salute everyone. Good morning, Raider Nation. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Good Morning Raiders. I hope you guys have your cup of coffee or whatever it is that helps you get your mind right on this beautiful Saturday morning. We have quite a bit to talk about, a lot of things happening this week. But first, as always, if you guys haven't done so, if you guys are new to the show, appreciate you guys tapping in. Make sure you guys check in and smash that subscribe button. Make sure you guys click those thumbs. Help me support the show. Help me keep the lights on. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Make sure you guys turn on notifications because sometimes when news drops, I go on. So you don't want to go ahead and miss out, be left in the dark. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for sure, 100% on all channels for sure. But again, I appreciate everybody tapping in with us. We have a lot of people on the show today, and I have a very special guest with me today. This is somebody that I've been really looking forward to doing a show with. We've talked about it for quite a while. We finally were able to go ahead and make it happen. He's a very busy man, so I'm very blessed to have him today on this Saturday morning. But without any further ado, let me go ahead and bring out my guy, Chris. Protect the Shield. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Jay, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Blessed to be able to connect with you, man, on this beautiful Saturday afternoon for you. I think it's morning still for you, though.
It's still morning for me for a little bit, but I know it's afternoon for you. That's the thing. I need a little bit of I need that extra hour of sleep to help me push through the shows because man, it's tough for little ones in the house, and I got very little ones right now. So
you've been grinding, man. And you've been grinding. Salute to you and all your boys that you've been rocking with, Leo and Jeff and all them, man. So you definitely blessing the nation with some good content, man. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. I know we talked about it quite a bit that we wanted to go ahead and do a show together, and I'm glad we were able to go ahead and make this happen and connect. And again, appreciate you for tapping in because I know you're busy, have a lot going on, doing a lot of shows. So definitely tight schedule for you. So I'm glad you're able to go ahead and make some time. But really quickly, I think before we get into it, I want to go ahead and just kind of salute the chat because again, chat like Zoom matter. Appreciate everybody in the nation pulling up tonight, pulling up this morning. So let me do a little bit of a roll call. My guy, Silver Smoke, salute, brother. Billy Davis, what's good, brother? Isaiah, salute, brother. Good morning. We the people, thanks for pulling up. Good morning. Raider Ryan, one of the Rider guys, salute. Let's see who else we got in here. Let me scroll a little bit down. Connected, salute, brother. Thanks for tapping in. Jahaya, good morning, salute. Thanks for tapping in. And Nada, appreciate you tapping in. Good morning, brother. And if I miss anybody else, my bad. I'll really quick for you. My guy D Menace, salute, brother. Thanks, my ride or die for sure. Thanks for pulling up. If I miss anybody else, I apologize, but salute. But let me go ahead and kind of get the show popping and started. But I think the biggest news, and I did a show the other day with Leo, and we talked about the whole Matthew Stafford trade. But if you guys didn't know, you guys now know Matthew Stafford is staying in LA. At first, it was pushed that the trade was looking promising, and I think there was somebody had posted, I think either Adam Schefter or Rappaport put out that trade they really found common ground. That trade is looking more likely to actually happen, and then next thing you know, we get the actual tweet, or depending where you're on, that Matthew Stafford is actually staying in LA. So let me ask you, Chris, what are your thoughts about this whole business with Matthew Stafford, in where it basically ends that he stays in LA? It looks like a little bit that we're going to use as leverage. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think ultimately, Raider fans, we have to understand what kind of organization we are. I know as Raider Nation, we love our team so much, but you got to think, someone like Stafford is, he came from a dysfunctional organization, the Lions originally. Then he got to LA and actually linked up with one of the best play callers in the NFL and end up winning the Super Bowl. So I think that it was never his plan to really come play for us, especially because we don't have the weapons that that I would be comfortable with as a receiver or as a quarterback. So I think it was a leverage thing. I think the team probably wanted to pay him a certain amount of money. He thought he was worth a little bit more. The team was basically, in a respectful way, was like, well, go prove it. Go talk to some other teams, kind of see what your market is. He went to Tom Brady, kind of got that speculation up, kind of got that going. Not sure if they talk numbers or not, but he went back to the Rams, and the Rams are probably like, hey, we don't want to lose you. We don't want to rock out with Jimmy G as our starting quarterback. So, we'll go ahead and make it work. So I think that it was very highly unlikely that he was going to come to us. And I really wasn't too big on him coming to us anyway.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. I was about 50-50 on this trade deal. I really didn't take too much into consideration until probably that common ground tweet posted. That's why I really kind of look at where the news comes from first. But once I saw that, I took it a little bit more seriously, but still, it's still with a grain of salt because exactly these things happen.
Yeah.
And so the Raiders are known to be used as leverage at times. And in my opinion, we just saw what happened with Ben Johnson. He got a little bit extra money. I think the deal for Stafford was 3 for $57, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of what I saw out there. So he definitely got some extra. He got what he wanted and then some. So if he's going to be good in LA, we were talking about looking at different things as far as what could happen on the draft. Um, how that was going to look like, because if LA wanted first round picks for Stafford, that's going to change the landscape for
Yeah.
us. Fortunately, that didn't happen. I wasn't sold on giving him a first round pick. I didn't think it was worth a first round pick.
No,
I was looking at him more as a third, maybe fourth round. But now that is a mute point. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
That's over and done with. But now the question is raised because I think Raider Nation is really looking towards, all right, this is probably going to be the guy moving forward, and we're probably going to be a contender. What do we do now? Now the question lies is, who are the Raiders going to pursue at quarterback? Are they going to still try to actively seek a veteran quarterback, or are they going to go ahead and focus their shift on the draft and getting one of the top two guys currently in the draft? Or are they going to do both? Because then I don't think there's a right or wrong answer per se in this question, but what are your thoughts? What do you think the Raiders are going to go ahead and do in this situation? Are they going to pursue a veteran quarterback, or are they going to focus on the rookies, or both?
Yeah, I think for us to be in the quarterback situation we've been in for so long, you have to attack the quarterback position pretty aggressively. You have to draft a guy. I mean, there is no excuse for us not to draft a guy. But then we also need to have some kind of bridge quarterback or veteran,
right.
May I say. If nothing else, just to be able to provide some true competition. I don't care who our quarterback is, they have to be competing. Like, I don't want no one just giving the keys.
Right.
So, regardless, so whatever veteran we get, whatever guy that we draft, whether it's a Jackson Dart or even Shedeur or whoever it is, I want them to earn that spot, and Pete's going to be like that, like when he drafted Russell Wilson. Russell wasn't drafted to start right away, but Russell earned it in camp and did his thing. So, I think Pete is going to be all about that. He's going to have some guys that's going to fight and then let the best man win, and I respect that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think my take on this is, I think they pursue. I think they still pursue a veteran quarterback, or somebody who's already established. Obviously, the name that pops up right now is Aaron Rodgers. But you have other guys like Justin Fields and Sam Darnold out there in the wind. And I feel out of this free agency, even though Aaron Rodgers is technically not a free agent until he officially gets released by the Jets, um, you have basically, this is a cream of the crop for free agency. There's not really any other names out there to be really mentioned. I know I've seen something where supposedly we were considering Zach Wilson. I don't know how truthful that is. I don't know if that's a real option for us to say the least. But I think Justin Fields will probably be the best fit going into this scheme. He's a young quarterback, mobile, and definitely can go ahead and sling the rock for sure. I don't know about Rodgers. I know the whole thing that he could potentially come cheap. It's not guaranteed that he would come cheap. For the only reason is that he can ask for more. He doesn't have to take the vet minimum. He can go ahead and ask for $10 million, $12 million, whatever. I think the vet minimum is like 1.2, $1.5 million. So not necessarily would he come in for that amount. He might ask for more, and then that question will arise: are we willing to go ahead and pay an aging Aaron Rodgers to come in for a year or two, because he doesn't have a long shelf life, to come in and play for us? And then you got Sam Darnold. We saw what Sam Darnold could do. Yes, he had a great season, but then when it really counted, he kind of shut the bed there. So he didn't have a good game against Detroit in that final game to win the top seed in the NFC, and he didn't have a good playoff game. He had a pretty terrible game, to say the least. So I don't know if these guys would be the guys, but I feel Justin Fields will probably be the best one out of those. What do you think about like having a Justin Fields come on or Aaron Rodgers?
So me personally, Aaron Rodgers is absolute no. I want no parts of Aaron. Especially
Yeah,
because yeah, he is getting older, but the whole point for me is understanding that we're not close to a Super Bowl right now. So it's not like we have a whole bunch of weapons and you could just plug in a veteran guy and we can hopefully get over the hump. We're going to have to set up a foundation for the future. And part of that is whoever this quarterback is going to have to be able to mentor, a young quarterback. And there is nothing about Aaron Rodgers that tells me that he's going to be a good mentor. He's not going to take no one under his wing. He's not going to,
right,
be the big brother type of guy. That's just not who he is. He's just not built like that. It's not in his DNA. When he came into the league, Brett Favre didn't do it to him. He didn't even want to do it to Jordan Love. So there's nothing that lets me know that he's going to be a mentor or anything like that. So he's out all the way for me. Now, the name that you didn't mention, Russell Wilson. A lot of people can't stand Russell Wilson. They think he's corny and all that. But to me, Russell Wilson makes the most sense because Russell will do exactly that. He'll provide leadership, and Russell already has a relationship with Pete, but he's also going to be willing to take a quarterback under his wing. Russell understands he only has a couple years left. But if nothing else, he's going to be able to show a young quarterback how to be a professional, how to approach the game and stuff like that. And that's what I'm looking for. Is Russell going to be able to go, ball for ball with Mahomes, or is he going to be able to, throw 350 a game? No, that's not what he does. But in a Chip Kelly system where, it's real. It's real opened up, but they run a lot too. Russell can make that happen. He can make smart decisions. He's not going to have to just sling the ball, 40, 50 times or whatever. So, most people are against Russell just because of whatever reason. I think for the right price, he will be the best option in my mind.
Yeah, and the reason why I didn't mention Russell is because I know that his interest to coming here wasn't really big. I don't know how Pete feels with with this whole history. I know they're cool now. They talk. They have a good relationship, but work wise, I don't know if he wants to go ahead and relive that necessarily. So I don't think he's a potential option. What you're saying definitely makes sense, 100%. I'm not on board on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he will make a difference here, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. And I had this discussion last week with Gravy. I don't know if you tapped into that, but
Yeah.
my take was like, look at the record, look at the points they put up, and those losses. It's very similar to us. Actually, some of them were worse than us, right? There were
Yeah.
single losses where they only put up like 9 points or something like that. So to me, and mind you, Aaron Rodgers had weapons, so there's no
Oh
excuse.
yeah.
Like,
Oh
have
yeah.
weapons.
Oh yeah.
His own line wasn't the greatest, but neither was ours. But what can you do with that, right? I mean, we talked about maybe AOC, not having enough protection. Well, same thing for Rodgers. He didn't have enough protection, but he had
Right.
weapons. What did he do? He really didn't do much. He literally just had one more win than us. So I don't think him coming over would make a whole big difference. And then you have his baggage on top of that too. So we know that he has a very big ego. He likes to do things his way, and he likes to be the smartest guy in the room. I don't know if that exactly meshes with the philosophy and the culture that we have established now in Vegas. You have to take a little bit of humility to be able to go ahead and play there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Personality wise, skill wise, it's just gonna match up. I mean, this is a different system that Chip is gonna go ahead and unveil. But yeah, that is question. So I mean, it could still be Russell. I don't want to count him out completely. I don't know if that's an actual viable thing, but Justin Fields, potentially, if you go for Sam Darnold, I've said it before. That's a commitment. You're
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
you do 3 to 5 years for him, and I don't think he's looking to be a bridge either.
No,
Unless
no, he's not.
on top of that, if you
Yeah,
go,
I think he's not looking for a bridge, and I think Justin probably still thinks he can play at the level. Even though I mean he's going to have to really have a prove it contract. So, but Sam Darnold, just just the way the contracts work, specifically with quarterbacks, it all depends on when you get hot. And he so happened got hot. On a contract year, so he's going to be able to get a bag based on what he did last year. But I think people that know ball and has watched it quite a bit, you can kind of see through the whole Sam Darnold thing. There's been so many examples of teams taking risk on a guy that had one hot year right during his contract year and then get burnt. Whether it's Daniel Jones, I mean, I can go on and on. So I want no parts of that. I want no parts of that.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't step up when it really counted. So that to me raises some eyebrows for sure. I mean, if I can give you the game versus the Lions, but you're in the playoffs and you're literally they were in a neutral location and they had a pretty terrible game. So I mean, you can shift some blame to the OC, but at the end of the day, you're the quarterback. You got to produce points. You got to make plays happen. And he wasn't able to do that. So for sure.
Yeah. And Kevin O'Connell is he's a great offensive mind as well. So he's a good guy to call plays and stuff like that. So, there's no excuse. You got the best receiver in the game. I don't know what he would do, in our situation. We don't have that many weapons. I mean, we have a very good number 2 receiver. We have an elite tight end, but besides that, our line is kind of shaky. We don't have a running back 1. We don't have a wide receiver 1. We're we need a lot. So if it's a quarterback that needs to have a whole lot of weapons around him to succeed, we're not going to be the place for you right now.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I agree. But yeah, so I mean, those are I think probably those are the top guys in free agency that you could potentially, or 4 guys that you could potentially seek out in free agency. But I mean, the other question is also too, I think now. I mean, the shift has always been there for the draft and drafting a quarterback. My take is I think no matter what the situation is and who's behind center starting, they're always going to go ahead and pursue somebody in the draft. I don't think you can not draft the quarterback this year. You have to at least plan for. You have to take the steps, even if these guys don't work out, and you try to. You go ahead and draft them next year on top of that, and you get a quarterback on top of that as well. I think you have to take that initial first step.
Yeah.
So obviously the big thing here is Shedeur Sanders opting out of the throwing at the combine. Same thing for Cam Ward. They're not throwing, but they're still top guys. The combine is going on right now. And it's a quarterback day. It's quarterback receivers and running backs, I believe, today. Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, others are participating in it. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform. But what did you take on, going up either to get Cam Ward or staying maybe at 6 to get Shedeur? And what kind of role will you think they would play in if we do acquire one of these 2 guys or anybody else like Jackson Dart or Dylan Gabriel or Howard?
Only quarterback I'd move up to get is Cam Ward, of course. I mean, he's the better of the 2. It's not even close. But I think that, thinking about like a Jackson Dart later on is interesting. It's scary because you can't get him at number 6. But then you don't want to play that game when you're trying to trade back into the first or whatever you want to do, because we've learned with Michael Penix, anything can happen, and then we'll be left out and have to get someone like a Will Howard or something like that, who I think's a big drop off. So it's tough. It really is tough. but I do like some of those guys, that's early in the draft. Like I really like, at other positions. So I like the Mason Grahams, the Will Johnson, and stuff like that. But I can't lie, I'm kind of torn because a part of me is like, man, go up and just go get Cam, because he's the only one that gives me that quarterback that can be a starter for the next 10 years at least, or something like that. We missed out the last few drafts. So it's tough, man. We're in a tough situation. We just gotta figure out how to just build this foundation. We got to use our money smartly.
Yeah, I agree. No, for sure. I mean, if anybody that I'm willing to go up for would be Cam for sure.
Yeah.
I think out of the two, he's the more humble one. I saw his interview that he did with Mike Flory the other day. Very, very humble person. So I think he would fit. I mean, Shedeur, same thing. I think he'll fit as well. But the way that Shedeur is kind of trending, and I know he doesn't think that, but I think the reality is that his stock is steadily decreasing. Not so much so where he gets out of the top 10, but he is definitely not the number one overall pick. I think he probably falls to us at 6. I don't know if the play would be to stay at 6. Don't be surprised if it is, and see what happens. Either at that point, if Shedeur is there, they're gonna snatch him up. If not, they either get best player available, or maybe they trade back, get more draft capital. Because the meat and potatoes of this draft, what it's looking like, is between rounds 2 and 4. We can't even go into 5, but really 2 and 4 are the meat and potatoes of this round, where all the talent is really stacked up there. So I don't mind. I like Jackson Dart. That's another potential if these guys are not there. I've said before, let's go ahead and pursue Jackson Dart. Will Howard's going to be another one. I think that his stock has risen a little bit just because now that we have Chip Kelly here, that is somebody that we can go ahead and eye, especially running this new type of offense. He'll be an asset to go ahead and either help whoever is going to be starting at center, if it's because it's most likely not going to be him, to go ahead and kind of give that insight, help with that continuity of this familiar offense that he's going to be helping to deploy. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys do. But one thing is that I've said that Shedeur not throwing necessarily. I would love to see him throw. I would like to see what he can do with receivers that are not familiar to him. Because if, let's say, we go ahead and get him at 6, he's going to be throwing to guys like Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, whoever else is going to be in that receiver room. So these are guys he's not familiar with, and especially if we're going to be looking at him to potentially start or start maybe later in the season. That stuff is important to see kind of how he does. I don't know. What are your thoughts on these guys not throwing at the combine?
Oh, I have no problem with it. To be honest, throwing at the combine is, it's not a big deal to me. At the end of the day, when you look at the throws, me personally, I look at the film, I look at the games. You can get some things from the pro day, a little bit, even though that's more, that's more structured, kind of by the player and the coaches and stuff like that. So you can kind of manipulate, certain drills and things like that. But it's not a big deal to me. And I think, as we go on, in the future, less and less quarterbacks are going to be throwing. That's just kind of what it is.
Right. No, for sure. That's my take. I would like to see him just kind of just to see that, having them in a different environment. But yes,
Yeah.
you could do go off the film. That is relevant because that's really gonna tell the story on how these guys perform in real game scenarios. So I don't see Shedeur stock falling anywhere below 10, but I feel that I really have a real strong inkling that he'll be there at 6 when it's our turn to go ahead and pick. But don't be surprised either, because these guys, Spytek and Carroll, are very aggressive. So you'll see them go up and down the board, make deals to go ahead and either trade back or trade up to go ahead and get draft picks. They're not scared to pull the trigger. So I know last year was a totally different story, but these guys have an initiative, and they've said we're in a win now mode. So to have them go out and get a veteran quarterback and pair him up with a young rookie out of the draft is a very definite possibility. Don't be surprised if that actually happens. But yeah, really quick, I want to go ahead and tap into the chat real quick because the chat lives do matter for sure. And again, I appreciate everybody tapping in with us on this Saturday morning. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for sure. Click those thumbs, help the algorithm, help to support the shows on both shows for sure. So appreciate you guys with us on this Saturday morning for sure, 100%. But let me go ahead and switch over to the chat. Let's see. Salute to Jose. This is Uncle Pete and GM Spy will do us right for sure, brother. Let's see. We the people said you have players like Tom, Patrick, and Joe Burrow throwing at the combine for them not to throw some lame ass. So yeah, I mean, it's just
it's a different time though. It's a different time. I mean, we're in NIL time. I mean, these players have more they have more leverage now. So I mean, you can't talk about stuff that happened. I mean, Brady was projected to be anywhere between like a 5th to 7th round pick. So I mean, bringing that up doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's different scenarios. Like you said, NIL changed the landscape. All these players, not only just quarterbacks. So there's certain dudes that are not like
they're not running. Yeah,
I don't think Travis Hunter is participating in this combine either. I didn't see him yesterday unless he's doing something today.
Yeah, a lot of guys aren't. And that's how it's going to be. A lot of guys aren't participating. A lot of guys don't participate in bowl games anymore. It's just a new landscape nowadays. Unfortunately, it's not that I like it. I wish everybody would throw, but if we're just being honest, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it's a business thing. I mean, you can't knock the guy for not throwing either. So that's why I'm not really hard about it. I'm saying I would love to see him throw, but from the business standpoint for Shedeur and Cam, they don't really need to prove anything else because they're already there. It's more for the guys that really need to go ahead and get that bump up in their stock. That's really what the combine is for. And so you guys know the combine is not really designed to help these players. It's designed to go against them, to see their flaws, to see their weaknesses. So that's definitely the case here. So yeah, I don't knock them for not doing it either, because it's made out to be to against you for sure.
Yeah, because if you think about it, okay, let me think. To Jaden Daniels, I don't think he participated. I don't think
he didn't participate.
Yeah, no, CJ didn't participate. I mean, like the guys that are like the top guys don't really participate. The ones that do have something to prove. You have people like Michael Penix. He had to prove some stuff, so that's why he wanted. That's why he ran the 40. That's why, because he wanted to show that those injuries don't really matter. So, he did things to kind of help. But most of them guys that are already up there, they're not gonna do it. And just like you said, it could hurt more than help. So if you're listening to your business and professional, your team, whether your agent or whatever, they're going to tell you, you might want to sit this one out.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not in your best interest to do so. But that's not to say that these guys are not going to go ahead and throw. They're just not going to do it at the combine. They're going to do it in a more controlled environment. I know Shedeur is going to do his pro day out in Colorado, and he's going to be showcasing his guys that didn't get invited to this combine to help their, raise their stock. So if they want to look, there's another look there. It's a little bit more of a controlled environment. It's not set up to go against him. It's actually more to support him, which is good too. So you can still take tidbits away from there. I mean, because either way, they're still throwing it. It doesn't
Right.
change a lot. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just the throws
Right.
are different. That's literally
Right.
what it is. But really great job. Says Sanders talks about him coming to a team will change franchise culture. Sure. So got a little bit of naysayers on Sanders.
Right.
Let's see. Jose says Michael Mayer has played his last game as a Raider too. So yeah. And that's the thing I almost forgot, and I'm thanking for reminding me. But the news is that Michael Mayer is potentially on the trade block as well. Let me see if let me go ahead and share this really quick. Um, there we go. I'm gonna share this. And shout out to Raiders Legacy. Make sure you guys give them a follow if you haven't done so already. He says the Raiders have a trade discussions with team involving tight end Michael Mayer. Per Vic Tafur, there's been interest in Michael Mayer from teams around the league and are listening and interested in setting for trade. So apparently Michael Mayer is on the trade block. So what does that mean? I mean, it could potentially mean that we might get some draft picks extra draft picks coming out of this draft. Could be player, could be multiple things, but I'm not really surprised too much at this because we have Brock and the way that Brock is, it's literally night and day. I know that Michael had some issues last season that prevented him from playing part of this season, but that was somebody that we were really counting on to come in and really help us showcase a two tight end set that didn't happen until later in the year. So I'm not really too surprised. Raiders probably deciding, hey, you know what, maybe we need to go ahead and part ways with them, see what we can get from him. He's a great player, but he might not be the one for us per se. What are your thoughts, Chris, on Michael Mayer being potentially on the trade block?
Yeah, I know most. My subscribers on here, they most of them know I'm not a big Michael Mayer guy. Even when we drafted him, but yeah, he has not showed me much. And plus, like you said, when we needed him the most, he wasn't available. I mean, and shout out to everyone that has mental health things that they work through. But at the end of the day, we did need you. And honestly, he to me, I just don't know. I know a lot of people look at what he did in college, but I didn't see too much that really made me, too excited. He's a pretty good blocker. He's a better blocker than Brock for sure. But as far as creating separation, he doesn't do it. He's made a couple big plays in the end zone, but overall, I'm not. I would definitely trade him while he still has some value, because there may be a team that think they can, save his career or whatever. But even when you think about it, and again, we don't know what happened, like what, kind of made him, get triggered or whatever happened. A lot of it's speculation. But to me, I think a lot of people aren't thinking about maybe he's not good with the thought of competition, because he came in here originally thinking he was going to be the guy. Then, the next year we draft Brock Bowers, and Bowers is balling, and maybe he can't take it. Some people just can't take it. They can't take that competition. Maybe they were spoon fed the whole time. And that's one of my problems with Shedeur. Shedeur's never really had to fight for anything because his dad has always been his coach. Like, okay, now put someone in there that's not your dad, that's going to really make you fight and earn this position. Some people aren't built for it. And again, I'm not, that's just me saying this. I could be totally off, but shout out to him. I hope he gets all the help he needs, but he just he's not who I think a lot of people think he is.
Right. Yeah. And then that's what we're saying. I'm not surprised for this move. And Pete and John were probably like, hey, you know what? we don't know if this is going to occur again this season coming up, and we need somebody who's reliable, who's somebody who could definitely be present here to help Brock, especially if they're going to really try to emphasize a two tight end set. I don't know if that's necessarily the case with Chip. It just might not be in the plans. So obviously, Brock is just a stud. He's on a different level than Michael Mayer. Not saying that Michael Mayer potentially sucks. He's a good tight end, but when you have to choose between Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, you're gonna go with Brock Bowers all day, especially putting up the rookie numbers he just did last year. We know what Brock can do, to, like you said, create separation, be able to go ahead and make plays. Learning how to block better. That's something that's teachable in the off season. I'm not worried about that, but having Brock there. And paying a contract like Michael Mayer to be potentially the depth guy if they're just going to go regular single tight end doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I'm sorry, Leo, because I know this is probably heartbreaking.
Leo loves him.
Leo loves Michael Mayer. That's his guy.
He loves him. Yeah.
So I posted that the other day in our group chat, and he's like, "Well, we don't know what's going to happen yet." But
yeah,
that currently right now is the consensus of what's out there in the NFL world that Michael Mayer is potentially on the trading block there. But let me go ahead and go back to the chat. But that was a good one because I told her I had it on the thumbnail and I spaced it right now, and I'm like, oh, somebody talked about Michael Mayer for sure.
Yeah.
But let me go back here. So it takes more than one player to tackle Michael Mayer. Yeah, for sure. But Rick says
it don't matter if he doesn't have the ball.
Yeah, it don't matter. They were using him a lot to block. He really didn't have that many touches. All the touches were going to Brock. I think is when they ran the two tight end set when they were double teaming Brock. That's where really when Michael Mayer came into play. But other than that, he really didn't get that many touches. I was kind of keeping track of it when he came back to see kind of what an impact he was going to make, and he didn't make a whole lot, So that's why if they decide to move on from him and put him up for trade, and we get some draft picks out of it, I think it's worth it for sure. Daniel says her from moving on from White too. Yeah, I mean, same thing. White hasn't really done a whole lot. He didn't do a whole lot this past season. We thought he was going to be the next Josh Jacobs 2.0. That we found out really quick.
Who thought that?
I don't know. There's consensus. There's people out there saying, "Oh, he's going to be the next, Josh Jacobs 2.0," and I'm like,
I told everybody. I'm not the I told you so guy, but hey, I'm just sitting back and I was just sitting back watching. Everybody kept telling me running backs grow on trees, and you can let good running backs go because you can get them in the 5th round and 6th round of the. All right. And then we got Zamir, and Zamir had those big biceps during the offseason. Everyone thought he was going to do something. The Duke, he has no vision, man. You don't let special running backs go, but I'm not going to go down that path.
Yeah, but if we decide to go ahead and package a bump with Michael, I'm not mad at that either. And that just creates more room for us to especially with this running back class and this draft coming up where there's so many running backs.
This is a good running back class.
Yeah, this will be a scenario where we can get 2 running backs and we don't have to worry about what we have, what we currently have. I mean, I don't see Madison coming back. I think they're working out a deal for Abdullah, so Abdullah might come back. That's what I heard, that they're coming up with a deal for Abdullah. So Abdullah might return. And then you still have McCormick. You still have Zamir currently. So if they package him up with a trade with Michael, you get, 4th round, maybe 5th round pick. Not mad at that. That I'm okay with that for sure. Let's see. We drafted 2 tight ends already with the first 2 rounds, back-to-back drafts. Felix says the combine is more of an interview of the QB position. I agree with Chris. The games are played in college. Watching game film tells and shows the true ability of
Exactly.
quarterback. Facts, yeah. And this is just kind of like just showcasing your arm, basically. And the combine is just set against you. It's not made for the players. It's made to see where the flaws is at, because the scouts are trying to see. They're trying to rank these guys and see, okay, what's wrong with these guys? Why shouldn't we draft them? They want to make sure they're making the safe bet here, and
Right.
that's literally what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
They're trying
they're
to
picking and
affect them.
prodding at you and all that. That's they found that in what was it? It's in Abdul Cardi his foot. And I mean,
Yeah,
like they
exactly.
they do their best to find stuff. They want to know, just like years ago when we drafted Maurice Hurst. Maurice Hurst was supposed to be a first round pick. Coming out of Michigan, and then they found that that heart condition that he had, and then a lot of teams weren't even going to draft him at all. They thought it was too serious, and they thought it was too dangerous and risky to draft him. I think we got him in the 5th round, I believe. So
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's what that's what the draft is, or that's what the combine's for, man, to really dig deep and try to poke holes and find where the flaws are in players. That's really what it's for, I think.
yeah, no, for sure. And like you said, yeah, they just discovered this thing with Abdul Carter. I think he has like a little stress fracture in his ankle that he has to have surgery on. We
Yeah.
just had we just had Max have surgery kind of for the same thing. So, I mean, would it affect Abdul's ability? I don't really think so, but
Nah.
it's something now you address. Now you have teams thinking, especially if you're Tennessee or the Browns, are we really willing to go ahead and take a flyer on this guy? Knowing that he has this potential injury, he has to take surgery. There's going to be recovery time with that, so he might miss certain camps. I think he'll probably be able to make the main training camp, but like
Oh
OTAs
yeah.
and stuff like that, he's probably going to
Yeah.
have to miss that because he'll be in recovery, right? So that's the thing. Like, what what do you do? So
Yeah.
now it shifts the landscape a little bit. I know me and Jeff talked about it yesterday. He would take a flyer on him. I don't know if I necessarily would do that, because
Oh,
that gives me
if
Kyrie
he
vibes
drops.
a little bit.
Oh, if he drops, yeah, but I don't know. I can't see him dropping that far, honestly. He's
Mhm.
a beast.
He is a beast. So yeah, teams have to go ahead and take that in consideration, and see if they were still willing to go ahead and take that small risk of it potentially not working out with his injury. So let's see. Steve says if Mayer can be worth a 3rd round pick, he can be traded if he decided to move up instead of a pick. I don't know if you could get a third for him. Realistically, I think between a 4th and a 6th would be something more
Yeah,
realistic. Even
yeah,
if you come up with some here, it's they don't the valuations are not high as you would think. Even
yeah.
though
I mean,
he's
can we drafted him in the 2nd round, and he's
Mhm.
been very underwhelming. So there's no way that, I mean, yeah, if a team would take a 3rd for him, man, I'll take that so quick. But
Oh
there's
yeah, okay.
zero chance.
Yeah, for sure. Daniel says one thing about the combine I like over pro day, QB is throwing to other wide receivers.
That is a good
Not
point. That's a
yeah,
good point.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's just the environment is different, but still, it's set up to go against them because it's not the drill that they're doing is probably not the normal drill that we do or normal drill that we do with their quarterback coach or with their offensive coordinator. It might be just something else, and it's just to exploit potential weaknesses that might be there because scouts need to be sure for sure. Um, let's see. Michael Merritt just against the Jets was epic and shows that he has the tools to be a great tight
Yeah,
end.
that was a
Yeah, he has.
beast.
Yeah, he does. But again, just now we know that he has off the field issues, changes things a little bit, and the new regime might not be willing to go ahead and quite deal with that. They might want somebody more reliable to be there and to help out. Really uh, with the season coming up. So that's probably what that kind of stems from there.
And on top of that, and again, maybe just because I remember like small things, like the small details, and I remember when he did an interview and he was talking about kind of like how he was unhappy his rookie year with McDaniels, and he basically said something like, it wasn't fun and he like wanted to quit. Like I just remember him saying that, and like to me, it's like, it was like it was like, yeah, I didn't even want to go to practice or something like that. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Like as a pro athlete, like no matter how hard stuff goes, like that's job. Like you want that love ball. Like anyone that even has that mentality, and all this came, before he had his breakdown or whatever and didn't show up, man. So it's like, I don't know, man. I just that just rubbed me the wrong way ever since I heard that. I'm like,
I didn't hear that, but now that you're telling me that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was, and he was trying to get to the point where it's like he didn't like playing for McDaniels. Okay, well and good, but the fact that you like.
I think Chris is freezing up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with Michael Mayer, I mean, knowing that, it's like it's kind of a little bit of a shocker. I mean, but knowing what we know now with Michael Mayer and having his issues, it probably stems from that. It probably certain situations might stress him out to the point where he just can't cope with it. And it's just sometimes it's just like that. It's not a knock on him on who he is as a person. It's just that's
My
how
bad.
it happens sometimes. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
We froze up a little bit. So
Okay.
you're good. All right, let me carry the conversation a little bit. But yeah, to I was kind of adding a little bit to your point of what you were saying. I didn't hear that, but now that you tell me that for sure, like
Yeah,
now,
I forgot exactly how he worded it, but it was just one of those things that it is, I don't know, it just bothered me, and it goes back to just players being able to go through some adversity. Like I don't know what he had to go through at Notre Dame. I know he was the man there, but things aren't always going to be easy. You're not always going to have coaches that you like. Things are going to be, especially as a Raider. As a Raider, things are always going to be tough. So you got to be able to withstand some adversity. And talking about that you didn't want to be there because of a coach, or that's terrible.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta have tough skin to play in this
Yeah.
organization, especially the way that we've been kind of running things for the last few years. It's a little bit of a revolving door, but I think now we have some stability, but still things are going to be hard. As a player, we hope that you have the mental fortitude to withstand um, a training camp, because they're going to throw many things at you to get you prepared to be able to face all these type of challenges during the game, and they want to go ahead and bring the best out of you too. I remember I remember hearing the conversation that Max Crosby had about uh, his coach when he first got drafted to us. He's like, you know what, I want to be the best. I need you to go ahead and bring it. Don't let me don't take it easy on me. Bring it. And he's like, he was talking shit to me. He would give me shit every day in camp, and then they would say it's not good enough, and then the next year too, same thing. And he thought like, maybe this guy doesn't fucking like me. Like, what's up? And then he he went into his office like, hey, what's up, coach? Like, why you giving me shit? You let these guys off the hook. And he's like, well, you told me that you wanted to be the best, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna let you slack. But if you want me to take the foot off the gas,
Yeah.
and give you that nice rah rah, I'll definitely do it. He's like, nah, it's cool, man. Just keep doing your thing. I just want to make sure it wasn't a personal thing. No, man, it's not a personal thing. You want to be the best. I want to bring the best out of you. And those were coaches for. I remember that in high school too. coaches are fucking tough, man. They'll talk
Yeah.
shit to you, but they want to go ahead and bring the best out of you, So
No, for sure.
gotta
For
remember
sure.
that. Gotta have it mentally tough up here for sure.
Yeah, got to,
Um,
man.
yeah. Let's see. Really, people says Abdul part of the injury. That type can easily be re-injured. It could. But
Yeah.
you got to take care of it first. So it's just how you rehab it too. If you're wrapping it, you're having a brace on and wrapping it. There's certain things that you can do to kind of mitigate that injury, but I mean, this is a contact sport. Anything could happen. So
Right.
things for sure, none for certain for sure. Um, let's see. Yeah, Rick says I saw Mary during the season last year at Laguna Beach. He was by himself and looked like he was looked like he lost his puppy.
Yeah. Just some
Yeah,
about him, man. Some about him just kind of throws me off.
oh yeah, for sure. Let's see. Jose says, Chris, Darren Waller unretired yesterday.
Shout out to Darren. That was my guy.
No, I love Darren. Darren was cool.
Yeah, that was my dude.
It sucks that we parted ways with him. I understand this, he had a little bit of injuries and stuff like that, but yeah, that was because of a beef. I feel that was a beef between him and McDaniels. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I know somebody didn't get invited to his wedding. He didn't get invited to his wedding. They say, things pop off, and my guy's going to New York, playing for the Giants. I'm like, damn, man, that sucks.
Yeah, I think it was a little deeper than that. But I think that he, I think they just didn't like each other. But then again, like Darren's a guy that is a perfect example. Like he has some demons that he is fighting every day. And honestly, maybe things about McDaniels triggered him. I mean, it probably would never have worked. And again, I love Darren Waller. Everybody knows like that's one of my favorite guys, man. But every player doesn't work with certain coaching styles, and that's just what it is.
They do come by. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, it sucks that to see him go, but I think he's just on to better things, which is cool for sure. But other news, obviously, the other talk this week, and I think it was a great move by the Raiders, is that the Raiders re-signed Isaiah Palomar to a 2-year, $8.5 million contract. So it's about roughly just over $4 million per year. And him stepping up for Marcus Epps the way he did when Marcus Epps went down with that ACL injury speaks volumes. So I'm glad he's back as a Raider. Again, that goes back to that continuity that that they're talking about. And I know that we've mentioned it before. So I'm glad to see him in the silver black. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Are you happy about this re-signing, Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. I think Isaiah, we still haven't seen his ceiling. Very athletic kid, smart kid. He attacks, and again, there were a couple times where on the back end, there was some confusion as far as communication, and that's one thing that I think Marcus Epps was good with as far as like leadership and communicating. I think Isaiah will get better at it, as he is, in the system, once again, and hopefully we keep Trayvon, so they can continue to build together back there on the back end. So. But 2 years, 8.5 million. I'm not mad at that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think the next person up to be re-signed, and hopefully we get an announcement pretty soon, is Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane definitely needs to be another guy that gets re-signed as well, to a new deal. You got a couple other guys as well. You got Chase on, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Morig. Other guys that are there that are also up on free agency. Who would you like to see back defensively from that free agency to be re-signed?
So out of which guys, or any of them that's available?
So right now, currently, it's Kuntz, Diablo, Chason, Spillane, Morik, and Hobbs. Right.
Okay.
There's probably some other guys that are missing, but they're lower level guys. But those are the cream of the crop.
So definitely Spillane for sure, Morg for sure, and me personally, I want Kuntz. I want Malcolm Kuntz. But I would have to take a good look at his contract. You know, there's been some word about where he may land as far as contract wise goes. But for someone that's coming off that type of injury, who only really had 1 year of good production, I can't see him asking for anything crazy. So we'll see. But you know, those are guys that I would like to see. I love Nate Hobbs, but I think he's going to be a little bit too expensive. And the way he plays the game, which I love how he plays the game, very physical, but he's going to continue to get hurt. That's just how it is. I mean, he plays, you know, football the right way, very tough, but he'll continue to get hurt. That's not going to stop, and we need him out there. And Diablo, he was a good locker room guy. Heard he worked hard, but he's just, you know, we need to upgrade there ASAP.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I would like to go ahead and see for sure Spillane, Chase be the other guy. Diablo, I'm not mad if they decide to go ahead and let him walk. What I heard, and I've seen a couple of posts, I got to look back and look for it, but I know that Pete Carroll likes Kuntz, and he probably wants to go ahead and bring him back. And they're probably try to do that. Now I know the market value for him is around $20 million or so, and I'm pretty sure he'll come in on a more team friendly deal. So probably expect anywhere from like 16 to 18, excuse me, around that range. But you know, they probably will try to go ahead and bring him back. I think you can still upgrade from him. You can get a better play out of him, but again, this might be something where Pete might see something that he likes, that he wants to go ahead and give him another year to see what he could really bring. I mean, we only seen the 8 games of production from Malcolm Kuntz, so maybe he wants to see what he can do with another year, another healthy year, right? But they would know how his rehab is doing and kind of where he's at on that. Nate Hobbs, I like Nate. I love how he plays, but he's also injury prone. We get like half seasons from him. I don't know if you would bring him back. I'm not mad if you decide to go ahead and let him move on. I think you could go ahead and pick up somebody in free agency or in the draft. Draft wise, I was looking at the guys yesterday. I really like Jalen Smith from USC. He's a guy that kind of stood out to me. Nick Manuori from South Carolina.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", 225. Guy around like a 4'3". Awesome. Tall guy, physical. So I wouldn't be mad if they decide to go ahead and grab him on the flyer in the late round. And I think he'll be there around fourth or fifth round, probably even up into the sixth. So you could definitely go ahead and let him walk if you decide to. But Trayvon Moehrig, out of those two guys, Trayvon would be the guy you definitely want to go ahead and keep. So we'll see what Spytek and Carroll do if they decide to go ahead and bring him back. I hope they do. I think he's around the $20 million mark too, if I'm not mistaken, anywhere from like 15 to 20 for Trayvon.
Yeah.
So if they bring him back, I definitely would be happy. But at least we know Paul Miles coming back. Most likely Spillane will come back. And then obviously the big thing too, Mac's contract getting restructured. So I don't know how everybody feels on this. I would love to see him get extended. But this is another good thing of having him extended and restructured. You're going to save you could potentially save some money this year on the cap. I think he has 28 million coming to him. If he doesn't get hurt, we can restructure it a way to make it guaranteed where it's maybe 20, 22, 18, somewhere around that range. And you're saving some money, right? You can save potentially up to $10 million. Same thing for Wilkins. If you restructure him, you can save anywhere from 5 to about 15 million from there. So you're increasing your salary cap. So that goes more into acquiring players, acquiring more talent, signing bonuses for the guys that we pick up from the draft, because there's certain allocation that goes to them. But what are your thoughts about re-signing Max, extending him? Because I know that that's also been a little bit of the talk as well.
Yeah, I think yeah, you always, definitely want to keep Max if we can. But at the end of the day, we gotta be realistic that we gotta do our part as far as keeping Max happy. He wants to. I'm scared that if we don't put together a good foundation, he's going to kind of be um, like Myles Garrett, where it's like, hey, I didn't do this for to be all pro or get a whole bunch of pro bowlers. I did this to get a Super Bowl and play in big games. So but I think part of that is Max has to do his part outside of the field, which is like, hey, if you want us to be able to get some guys, you got to be able to be flexible with your contract so we can bring some guys in here to help. So and it sounds like he's willing to do that. So
yeah,
we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that's because I think that would be the case. I don't think he's just, hey, just fuck you, pay me type thing. I think he just wants to make sure he's like, look, the amount of things that I do on the field and off the field.
Oh yeah,
how much I pour into. Yeah, how much
he asked for. He's worth every whatever number he asked for. He's worth it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he just wants to make sure that money's going to come to him. That's all. You can't blame the guy for doing that. So, I think he'll make it team friendly for sure because he wants the team to succeed. He's not just about himself. So hopefully that comes in. It looks like that's going to be the case. Especially the way that Spytech has talked about him, how Pete has talked about him. Spytech has said I see Max being a Raider for a very long time. So that is an indication that he's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. So long as his desire to be here, they're gonna go ahead and do everything possible to keep him here. If it's the other way around where like, what, I don't really see things going anywhere here. I want to see what you guys can do, trade me out or whatever. That'd be a different story. But he wants to be here. He wants to win here with the Raiders. So that's all you can ask for. So they'll do whatever it takes to go ahead and bring him back for sure. Let me go back to the chat really quick. Now, man, you see safety Emmanuel Warrior running for. Yep, that's what we're talking about. Dude's like 6'3", 6'5", 220, 25. Yep, South Carolina smoker for sure. Rick says Max is the face of the franchise, and he is, man. Normally, it's the quarterback, but in this case, it's a defensive end, and sometimes it happens like that. It's not a bad thing, but we just need to fix the offensive side as well for sure. But let me kind of shift a little bit to you, man. So I know you're out in the East Coast. I know we talked a little bit, before the show. Just kind of tell me like what brought you into content creating, how long you've been doing it for. Because I know you've been a Raider fan for a very long time, but let us know a little bit about that, about Chris.
Yeah, man. So I started about 2 years ago, and the crazy thing, I originally wanted to start it because it was during that Derek Carr, when it was just a big divide, during that Derek Carr, the end of the Derek Carr time. And it was like the fan base really bothered me how divided the fan base was. So that's why like I wanted to create like a brand protected shield where the shield's first, and even myself, I even have to do a better job of remembering that sometime. But so that was kind of my mission. My mission. So when I first started, I worked hard on making sure that we can have good conversations regardless on what your thoughts and beliefs are. I always took pride in having authentic conversations. So yeah, I started that. Started off had a very good interview with Hugh Jackson, and that kind of helped springboard me to kind of get my name out there a little bit more. Was able to get a couple other players for interviews and stuff like that. Met some great people along the way. Had a group TRS, the Raider Syndicate, which was, Leo, Raider Rundown and Turf and myself. And then, now I do a lot of stuff with my boys, the Raider War Room, which is 805 Raider and Severe. So, just working hard, man, keeping it moving and just trying to bless the nation, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I tap into you guys every chance that I get.
Appreciate it.
The War Room. Yeah, for sure. The War Room. I know you have something new that you just started with Dub Raider. I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I got something called it's a Raider War. I'm sorry. It is the Raider Nation Weekly Wire that I do with Dub Raider. So it's basically a new videos that we drop every Saturday. So it's kind of, anywhere between like 30 to 45 minutes. And we kind of talk about ball from a higher level, as far as like not so much into the details. So it's good for people that like the Raiders, but that don't necessarily dig in like as deep as we do about the specific details of the Raiders and what they do, and they just kind of want to learn from at a different level. So I kind of it's more of just learning, and be able to, like, someone who doesn't know all that much about football but wants to learn more, so it's more educational and stuff like that. So it's something new that we wanted to try. It's not on my channel, it's on his, Dub Raider, good friend of mine. So anyone that kind of wants to learn more about the game and more about the Raiders, is a perfect show.
Yeah, great dude. I got to get him on the show too.
Yeah, it's good, dude.
That's Dub Raider for sure. I wanted to go ahead and plug you guys' show and help support him. I know he's getting started in this, so
yep.
I got like an episode already, so
yeah,
good stuff. Good stuff
appreciate
for sure.
Appreciate it.
But I think that's pretty much it. I know we're a little bit short on time, so we'll probably just go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, I appreciate you coming on today as my guest, brother, and
man.
We chopped it up, and I love the conversation today. It was really awesome. Really quick, a few particulars before I go ahead and sign this off. Again, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on both channels. Help to support the show. Click those thumbs. Help us with the algorithm. Help us spread the word of the Raiders out to the YouTube universe for sure. So smash the subscribe button, hit those thumbs for sure. Really quick, and then also make sure you guys catch my show as well. What am I out of the banner here? So I got the Monday show, Raiders Unfiltered, every damn Monday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, right after Cheeto's show. So make sure you guys tap in. The Raider Connection every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. That is a panel show. That's Leo.
It's a fire show right there.
Yeah, and LB Ray to myself. We do it every Wednesday. We're starting to have some guests on, so make sure you guys tap in, turn on the notifications for those. We had Miss Peggy on the other week, and then we had Gravy before that, so or Gravy after that, and so it was a really good show. We had AR recently too, so we had a few guests. So make sure you guys tap in. Turfers was on this past Wednesday. Speaking of which, so make sure you guys tap into that, and then obviously this morning show, going down every damn Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. Make sure you guys turn on notifications for that. For next week, I do have a very special guest. I will announce that later in the week. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on notifications. Big things also on top of that guest. So I can't wait. Very exciting show. So make sure you guys tap in for that. But other than that, I appreciate everybody joining us this Saturday morning. And thank you guys for tapping in, and then we'll see you guys next time. As always, remember, just Raiders, baby. Peace.